Welcome to Hosbrutality. My name is Stefan Zarnecki of Black Tie Tours, and with me, as always, is Wesley Jones of Tour Cascadia. And cammering out there is local artist Cole Rogers. Yes, he is.
That's the main man behind the cam.
Bam! Exactly. Well, we're back.
Feels good. I missed this.
Episode 1 of season 2. Let's improve on last season? Is it even possible to improve? We were so fucking brilliant.
God, we need to put together a montage of the development from like the very first episode to where we ended.
You know what we could improve is the amount of money we make from this to fund more trips to New York. So if you're like a marketing for iPods for podcasts genius, hit us up and tell us what.
Or if you're watching or listening and you're not giving us good feedback, pay us in our Patreon.
Pay us in the Patreon, but pay us in feedback too.
Feedback, man, we'll take it.
Adam Desjardins of Germantown, Maryland. Mwah! I love you, amigo. It was so good to see you last week, and most importantly, thank you for the feedback. So yeah, we are back.
We're here.
We took a little trip to New York, the city, as they say. Spent a lot of time in Manhattan, a little bit in Brooklyn, and we'll launch right into it. One of the main reasons we went was to taste pizza.
Yeah.
Because
good pizza.
Here in Oregon, we have our pizza's all over the place. You know, it's not, we don't have a consistent style. Bless you. We have some wonderful.
We are outside, and it's allergy season.
We are outside. So if Wesley's dog starts barking or neighbor comes through, deal with it. But we have some tasty pizza here, but actually it does tend to be kind of greasy. We'll get to that a little bit. But we wanted to go to New York, which is, I think, many people consider the hub, the
mecca of North American pizza.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's Chicago and New Haven or whatever would argue maybe with that, but it's a start of our pizza education. I do not claim to be a pizza expert. I like what I like, and I'll give it to you straight as far as like, did I like that or did I not like that? We didn't have a whole lot of time, but we had some fun.
And we had some goddamn good pies.
Oh, I did a fair amount of research, and we didn't go to places that sucked. That's for sure.
No,
we had some legendary spots.
We'll get to it later, but
yeah,
it was very obvious when Stefan was no longer part of our group. Stefan was only there for like 48 hours.
Yeah,
bing bang boom.
Maybe 36.
That's probably a good place to start.
48.
We'll go from worst to best. But
worst to best.
When Stefan left for one day. We were there for 4 days. Stefan was there for 3. So on the last day that Wes and I were there, we were bumming around. We went down to the Freedom Tower, or the kind of like commemoration. What's it called?
Commemorative ponds.
Commemorative, yeah. And it was really pretty. It was cool to see.
Something along those lines.
But we were like super hungry, so we walked. Ian looked up on Yelp or something like top rated places. And there was this place that had like a 4.8, and we're like, damn, that's like suspiciously high. Like, and so, or maybe it was like a 4.9 even. It was very.
It was unrealistically high.
Yes, which
we should have
definitely
known.
Inflated.
Yeah.
Which Cole mentioned once we're sitting there eating. He's like, guys, you do know that you shouldn't like trust anyone that has higher than like a 4.7 or 4.8 at the highest.
Clearly, the owners are like just creating new email addresses and pumping up their score.
Yeah. Paid their buddies.
Anyway,
so. We go to this place expecting like just dynamite, and we each get a couple slices, and it was so greasy and just so much closer to Oregon pizza than I wanted to taste in New York City.
It was the one place none of us finished our slice.
Correct.
That's sad. That's a sad situation.
Not good.
Well, one place where it was our first stop was John's of Bleaker, which many believe is the best pizza in New York and in the 5 boroughs or whatever. Barstool gives them a high score and everything. And John's of Bleaker was so good.
It was unreal.
It was a wait. We had to wait, and they didn't do slices. But when we finally did get our pizza, they gave us 2.
Yeah, we got an extra.
They accidentally gave us an extra pizza, and we were like, "Oh God, we're gonna." Like, are we going to eat 2 pizzas?
When it's the beginning, we're supposed to go to like 2 or 3 other spots.
Yeah.
So we were trying to save real estate in our tummies.
Trying to save room. And hopefully Cole can cut in a little bit of our footage here. But it was amazing. I thought the thing that really stood out to me about that was the sauce. The cheese was like nice and salty and yummy. The crust was like a little crispy and everything, but the sauce was just like pop.
Yeah.
When I thought at first it was just because it was our first stop. Oh my God, this is so
Yep.
great. Cole and I went back today. Stefan left for a comedy show. Just as good, if not better.
Oh, you guys went back to
Yeah.
John's.
Me and
We ate there
Wes
again.
went before
Respect.
the last night comedy show we went to, and we just got a whole pie, which neither of us is like huge eaters. We're not the kind of guys that eat a whole pizza together. We crushed that pizza in like 15 minutes.
Probably could have ate more.
No
Yeah.
problem.
By the time
Yeah.
I was done, I was still kind of hungry.
Large
John's
cheese.
Bleaker was excellent. Maybe the best all-around pizza.
It was
I don't
good.
know. One I wanted to bring up. We had big plans about going. I'll get into that later. But one we went by that was kind of interesting was Emily's.
Yeah.
I wanted to eat there, but they were definitely a different style. There was something kind of like you'd see in Oregon. You know, like a pizza place
Yeah.
with like chic, pipe fitting type bookshelves and like this kind of like tile.
It felt like
and
something you'd
everything.
find off Burnside.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Portland.
and like that's not bad or anything. And they didn't end up having room for us. And apparently they had a good Sicilian or something. But it was definitely interesting, an interesting contrast to kind of the old timey
Yeah.
places that we ended up going. So
So we ended up at Joe's on Carmine,
we did
which was
Another awesome
stunning
stop.
too.
that pizza.
My
was
number 2
killer.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah, we
So
didn't. I don't
tasty.
think we got any content of us eating the pizza because we ended up talking to this very nice couple in the park. This lady was hilarious, just like, oh,
she
Brooklyn.
hated hipsters.
Yeah,
more
she's
than
like, oh, Brooklyn.
the
ugh."
gentrification of the city. She was originally from New Zealand, lived in
Yeah.
Yeah.
lived in the city for like 20 years.
Mhm.
Hated all the young people that were coming in and changing the city.
I thought we were gonna end up going to dinner at her house. I think we were pretty close.
I was trying.
but we had a.
Wes did
She was
try.
like,
I was working it.
Yeah.
"You're." Oh no, she was like, "Where are you having dinner?" Like, and I think you were like, "Oh, your house," and she was like, like, I think she
I
would have.
mean,
People were so nice in general. Like,
I should have offered wine. That was my
we had
fault.
wine, and anyway, they were cool. But Joe's and Carmine, that was delicious. You can definitely go and have delicious pizza there. I recommend it.
I think it was the sauce didn't stand out quite as much at that place, but the crust and just like it was almost like almost a slightly more crispier pizza.
Yep.
A little
Yeah.
bit thinner.
Yeah.
It was delicious, and if I hadn't had John's of Bleaker like 5 minutes before, I probably would have thought it was the best pizza I've ever had. But
We're
it
hitting
was
that.
the second best.
It
Pizza
was
I ever
it was
had.
a very close second.
And so day 2, we went to Juliana's. Juliana's. One of the reasons we went there is because they buy our truffle oil and put it on their number one. It's their number one pizza. It's called the number one. I'm not
The
saying
number
it's-
one.
I don't know if it's their best-selling pizza, maybe. But met John,
Yeah.
who has been my contact for all these years buying truffle oil, and he came out and hung out. And thank you to John for sending us off with a little bit of swag and hanging out. John was
a
super cool.
sweetheart.
He just hung out, like,
Yeah.
Not a care in the world, just chatted us up, talked about Oregon, talked about wine, all this different stuff. And, you go into a situation like that and you have to have very low expectations because it's the middle of their workday.
Right.
And so you can't expect them to just drop everything and like chill
No.
out with you for a while. And that is exactly what he did.
Right.
And it was great. I really enjoyed the time there. And we ordered the number one and I loved it. It was the only white sauce pizza we had, but
Right.
honestly, of all the pizza I had, I probably liked that the best. The cheese was super salty and good, and I was super happy with it.
Yeah, it had like a prosciutto or something similar to it.
Yes.
It was really good.
It was
Really
like
salty,
mozz-
but
like a big. Like,
Pancetta.
oh
like-
my gosh.
I thought maybe mozz and prosciutto or something, but it had the way they did the cheese was unlike what you'd typically see in like a Portland pie.
Right.
They would do like just dollops, like they would just kind of
Yes,
tossed
the
on like,
Neapolitan
chunks.
American
Yep.
Yeah,
style.
yeah,
Totally.
See, I did my research.
It was so
The dollops
tasty.
of like fresh mozzarella versus I think they call it the low moisture, shredded, typical mozzarella. Anyway, and then we ordered the standard pizza
The-
as well.
the margarita.
The margarita Neapolitan American more style, and
Which is tasty
that was
as well.
excellent. Very, very good. Loved it. Probably style wise a little closer to what we see out here than I
Yep.
would say the pizza we had at in Manhattan in
Right.
Lower Manhattan.
Closest thing to like a Red Hills Market pizza we tasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
If we were to make a comparison,
It's
that
not
locals
yeah, we're not
would
trying to-
understand.
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. So Juliana's was awesome. Soup that was like
And you had what'd you have? An egg drink?
I did. I had what an egg not an egg milk.
It's like a creamy
Cream
cream,
Egg cream?
Egg
An
cream.
egg
I
cream.
think it was an egg cream and it was fine. It was like a soda fountain, it was like soda water, milk, and flavoring.
Like a cremosa that had
Yeah, kinda.
chocolate.
Apparently that's a thing.
Yeah, I didn't hate
A
it.
New York thing. I didn't hate it either. I had like half of it.
When after walking the Brooklyn Bridge, it was really nice to sit down for a little while.
That was nice. Yeah, no, that was a wonderful, beautiful walk. Then let's see.
There was a lot of walking.
We took an Uber. We took a Lyft to try another spot, and I didn't realize it had closed. It was a second location of DeFaro, and they have two locations, and the one was just way too far. It wasn't practical. So we ended up hanging out a little bit in Brooklyn, and I went to a surf shop, bookstore, whatever. Anyway, the next closest place was called Best Pizza.
Yep.
Not too far from there. Nice walk. And we had their regular kind of Neapolitan American and the granny slice. Again, this was maybe my least favorite of all of them, but still very, very good. The granny slice.
If it was, I think we all agreed if it was here or in Portland,
oh my God, I'd eat
there'd
there
be a
every
line
day.
around the block.
But
in comparison to what
yes.
else we were eating, it was the last of our favorites.
Yeah. But Best Pizza, nice guys, good stops still.
Met a cool dude from Brooklyn sitting outside, like one of the coolest looking dudes I've ever seen in my entire
Just
life.
chilling.
He was just so cool.
Yeah.
Definitely looked like an Abercrombie model.
Yeah.
Definitely had a little of that.
Yeah.
A little bit of a gray fox, long hair. Never took his shades off the entire time we were talking.
Right.
Very Brooklyn.
So, in review of our pizza experience in New York, our brief pizza experience, a couple points. We never had a real Sicilian.
We didn't.
Nope. Which is like a thicker kind of situation. The granny slice is kind of like a Sicilian, but not as thick. I would have liked to have tried a real Sicilian pizza, a place that's known for it, and I think there's a lot of options. We just didn't end up at one.
We needed more than 48 hours. Is the consensus, I think, at this point.
And I think we probably could have been slightly better organized. I think I want to kind of blame COVID on part of it, but because DeFaro, we would have definitely gotten to DeFaro. But yeah, we only got to 4 stops total. Well, 5. You guys had a 5th.
Yeah.
We won't even count that as a
Well, it would have been 5 if we'd got Emily's, but they just couldn't seat us.
It would have been, and I think part of the problem was we were distracted by our wine store shops. We're gonna get to that in just a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm mapping it all out on Google Maps ahead of time and trying to get everywhere, and so we were. It was not the most focused, but at the same time, we can't just eat. I don't know.
Well, and we started out because we went to John's Bleaker first, and it was just so good, and we got 2 pies. We were
trying to give away that other pie.
We were initially probably going to eat like half of one pie, and
Yeah.
they were like, well, we have a whole nother pie.
We ate that whole
And
thing.
this is so good. So between the 4 of us, each had 2 slices at our first stop.
Right.
Yeah.
And so by the time we were like maybe going to go somewhere else, it was kind of like, well, we were all like super stuffed. And
Yeah, hunger was
Thank
not a
God for a 5th
thing.
of whiskey in my backpack, though.
Yeah,
That kept my hunger going.
Yeah, you were just nursing that thing. We'll pull it out, whatever we did.
No, but you make a good point. We did get distracted by wine shops, and I think we had a more romantic idea of the interactions we'd have with wine stewards.
Agreed.
And when we got there, it was a lot of folks that knew muy poquito.
Well, let's
Oregon
let's
wine.
cut to a couple of the clips from the wine shops.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Good. What's the name of your shop here first?
You're at NRS Wine and Liquor.
Right on. And what's this? 8th Street, 8th Avenue.
8th Avenue and 30th Street.
Awesome. And we're visiting from Oregon. What comes to mind when you say Oregon wine?
Oregon wine. I think of Pinot Noirs.
Pinot Noir.
Great Pinot Noirs.
David, do you know?
$20 range Pinot Noirs.
$20 range Pinot Noirs. Oh, what your
I think
brand?
of A to Z Pinot Noir.
A to Z Pinot Noir. Okay.
What else? Elouan.
Who's that?
Elouan.
L-O.
Those are great Pinot Noirs.
Big production, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Hey, thanks a lot. Okay. Where are we right now?
Hey guys, welcome to Casa Oliveira Wines and Liquors. We are in the West Village, 7th Avenue South in Manhattan, and my name is Paul, and I'm delighted to meet all of you gentlemen.
This is a cool little shop here. We just kind of wandered in. We're, like I said, getting pizza and popping into some shops. What comes to mind when I say Oregon wine?
I actually think of Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir?
Pinot Noir, I think it's great. It's, compared to the California ones, it's earthier, so it's got, more flavor to it. It's more interesting. It opens up very nicely. We've been selling it for years. I've been here 12 years, and the business has been here 85 years, and hopefully it'll be here another 85 years. So
Wow.
That's amazing.
thank you for coming in.
Yeah. Well, any labels that pop into mind that you can think of?
Yes, the find out.
Oh yeah, we can edit it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I threw that. That was a curveball.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come over here and take a look. Okay. So we've got actually our best seller, and it's a premium one.
Nice.
Is the Willamette Valley. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
You nailed it.
I nailed
It's
it.
Willamette, damn it.
Willamette, damn it. And then Siduri also is, number 2.
Right on. Beautiful.
So those go very, very well.
Excellent.
And they tend to, we in terms of the Oregon Pinot Noirs, we prefer to carry the more premium brands,
Sure.
because they are excellent and they sell very well. And we've got a couple of customers who, religiously, that's what they buy every week.
Right on.
That's awesome to hear.
Hey, thanks a
Yeah.
lot for your time.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Nice meeting you.
Okay, so we found some truths out of those clips. The knowledge is shallow,
Yeah.
and the one guy, he even said, "Oh, $20 Pinot," and
Yeah. What do you associate with Oregon wine? Oh, $20 Pinot.
yeah, it's like, oh,
Wait a second. Hold on.
hang on, that's that's not what we experienced.
Right. Well, and you could tell
Yeah.
who had a rep that was going to New York City,
Mm-hmm.
who could afford a rep in New York City. It was the same 3 or
Yeah.
4 over and over again.
Yeah, there was A to Z, and
I saw Proteus.
Well, more like whose
Um,
reps in New York
you saw
City are doing a
Proteus?
good job
Uh-huh.
getting their wines
In
into
one
shops.
spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple others, just kind of generic, like what you would expect.
Well, and there were a couple
national
labels
market.
that like aren't sold
Pike
here.
Road.
No, like from 12th and Maple was making some obscure. Honestly, I think it's a side label for someone that's made in Dundee that we've never even heard of.
Yeah, it's a distribution. I think there's some distribution only stuff out there. I get those inquiries every once in a while for tours, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And it turns out it's distribution only
Right.
sub-label from somebody. So yeah, I mean, there was one guy who I thought, was like, okay, this guy kind of has
Right.
some, like he can actually speak intelligently about Oregon wines, even if it's not with great depth.
He
I'm
at the
not
very
gonna-
least read Wine Spectator a couple
Right.
of times.
he paid it some attention. So that kudos to him, and we'll cut that in. I don't know in the video because I
Yeah.
think he gives a little pitch on his
Right.
where his shop is and
Right,
everything.
right.
So good for them.
I did have one wine steward lady that got pissed off at me.
Oh yeah,
I went in to go buy a liquor bottle second day, midway through the afternoon, and I'm looking at the wine, and
You're such a snot-nosed prick.
I mean, maybe she just saw a kid with a backpack and thought I was gonna steal shit. I don't know what the deal was, but I was looking at the Oregon wine. She's like, "Can I help you?" I was like, "Oh, like I'm from Oregon." I was looking at your Oregon wine, and I'm looking. She's pretty quiet. I was like, who do you use as a distributor or as distributors? And she goes, we use a bunch. Why does it matter to you? And I was like, well, because I'm seeing like a lot of labels here that are just they're good, but like I'm curious from an education standpoint. If I'm gonna host folks from New York, what do they have access to? And she in
She wasn't playing.
very short time told me to pick my bottle and get out of her wine shop. So
Yeah. Well, what was the one line like? She was gonna. Oh, I could tell you, but no, I don't want to, or I don't care.
oh
or-
yeah. I was asking her some more details about who she's buying from. She's like, I've got a couple, but it's none of your business.
Yeah. It was.
You can get out.
It
I
was.
was like,
It was Kurt.
all right.
Yeah.
Well,
You're also.
you're the
know,
New Yorker I
kind
was
of-
warned about.
Yeah, that's the thing is everybody else was really nice. I think we'll hit some of that at the end, but yeah. So the wine shop's interesting. Not going to do that again.
No.
You know.
And
we'll get-
clearly, unless people are traveling to Oregon, they're not drinking good Oregon wine
and
in New York.
Probably the best interaction though was at the steakhouse, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Comedy clubs. One of my goals, as I stated last week's episode, was to get to some comedy clubs. I haven't done enough of that, and I know New York is a great place for it. I've done it a little bit in Chicago. Haven't even really done it in Portland, which I'm kind of tempted to now. The Helium Club, Dave Attell brought it up.
Yeah.
So we went to Gotham City on the first night, on Monday night, and
Legendary.
that was great.
The lineup top to bottom was so fun.
They were so exactly from beginning to end. They were really consistent. Like you could tell the experience, as it kind of got on.
Right.
The acts were a little bit more polished, but even like the woman who was doing the emceeing,
yeah.
she was pretty funny. Like she was
she
kind
sexually
of working
harassed
off the
Wes
crowd a
really
little
well.
bit. She harassed
Yeah.
Wesley quite a bit. Clearly
Sorry.
wanted the LD,
Mm.
and she wanted to rub your beard.
One of the themes of the night was Wesley getting sexually harassed by all the women on that stage. Actually.
That is
It was
correct.
pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, he definitely got picked
Oregon
on.
boy with the big beard and just like
Yeah,
everyone
one of the
said
thing-
something.
one of the things we realized is most New Yorkers, at least like white guys, aren't rocking big beards in New York.
I think you're
Anyway,
right.
So really stood out, especially at those shows.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then there's 4 dudes. One of us has a big beard, and at those shows it's pretty interactive, and so they're always asking, "Where are you from?" And as soon as you said Portland, just the biggest
Boom.
target on our table.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah.
And actually that night, one of our favorite comedians, if not our very favorite of the week, was this really hilarious guy named Usama.
I think it was Usama.
And my favorite line with him, he just looked at us the first thing he came up and he's like, "Oh my God, you guys look like 4 people from like the exact same place." And then he's like, "That looks like Chad, Chatty, Chatter, and Chattist."
Yeah.
And then went
From
down the
left to
line
right.
of like how unemployed we were.
Yeah, you're like 4 different levels of unemployment.
I was like the guy
Employed.
making meth or something. I don't
Yeah,
remember. It was the I
Just
was
looking for
the
coke,
4th, yeah.
unemployed.
Yeah.
You looking for work,
so
doing coke. Yeah, dude. He was amazing. Usama,
Unreal.
I can't remember his last name. We'll get it in there. But of all the comics that I saw in those 2 days, he had the audience just from beginning to end in the palm of his hand.
Right.
It seemed like everything that came out of his mouth got a great reaction. Even if every joke didn't land with the same weight, the crowd was just with him. Like,
Well, and it was such an
so good.
interesting time, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but June 1st was the first day that New York was opening back up for like indoor comedy club access, that kind of thing. And so we were seeing these comics like their first, second, and third nights out.
Yeah.
And so clearly some of them had a little ring rust, but were just so sharp as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So Gotham City, great. There was that. Yeah. Usama was second to last, and the last guy was very polished, very good. Yeah, that was his like thing.
yeah.
And it was kind of that he kept coming back to. But Cole almost didn't get in because
That was the second night.
No, that was the second night.
That was at the Comedy Cellar.
Yes, that was after our.
Oh,
Canes
that's
dinner.
right. Okay, so that's in the
Yeah.
wrong. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That-
So we got
wrong.
to
Comedy
the second
Cellar.
night.
Second night.
Comedy
Okay.
Cellar. They were requiring everyone to have vaccination cards because they
Which
wanted to do.
I got an email the day before
Right.
about. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. So we all bring them. Cole's got his COVID test. He's vaccinated.
Luckily, I had a
But
COVID
just
test
didn't bring
like
it with him.
6 days earlier. Like I had gotten
Yeah.
mine to get on the flight, which turns out I didn't need to have for the plane ride. So I'm like, God, I'm mad I even had to take that swab up the nose. But then at the door, the bouncer guy was not having it.
He was
was
serious.
absolutely like, "You are not vaccinated. You're not coming in." And I was like, "Dude, I don't have my card on me." And so I go, what if I pull out my chart and just show you like my recent COVID negative? And I don't even think he heard me. I think he thought I was showing him my COVID vaccination when I showed it to him.
He wanted an out. He wanted something.
That's all he
to be
wanted.
like-
So, and then I just said, he's like, "Okay, the my chart. And then I pull it out, and it's like, plus
He
it's
does
like
one of these.
5
He
or
just
6
goes
day old
like,
test.
"Vroom."
He
Yep,
just
you're
sees
good.
COVID, and he's like, "Cool, get the back of the line." I'm like, "Fuck, thank God."
I
yeah,
know.
lifesaver.
That was close. We almost were piecing out of there, like moving on, find something else. But Comedy Cellar, famous comedy club. I thought overall the comics were good. Oh, the first guy, I do not remember his name. The MC guy, the girls, the
Oh, yes.
table
my
of girls.
gosh.
Yes.
There's this guy. He was sharp as a tack. There's this table of girls that won't stop talking, and halfway through his opening set,
And they're
this
like front and center.
this
They're
like
front
couple
to the right.
couple like comes in and it turns around and walks out. That table won't shut up. And at one point he looks at me. He's like, "Hey, could you kindly shut the fuck up?"
Yeah.
And just keeps like pounding. This
They're probably
table.
like 20, 21. Like they're young.
They're dressed up for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? 2 sets later, like
If
I
that.
didn't even notice the table. I was so keyed in on the stage. One, probably because we were getting harassed.
Yeah. Again. Yeah.
But he comes up. He's like, "Hey, so you guys want the update?" And he points at the table and it's empty. He's like, "So 2 of the people that came with them didn't have their vaccine cards. Tried to sneak in, And eventually, the rest of the crew just left. They took off, which got a almost standing ovation.
Everybody
from the
was
rest of
happy
the crowd.
to see those bitches go, like, because they clearly were
It was.
not being
They were
respectful.
not there for comedy.
I don't know.
They were there for their Instagram posts. Or
I
whatever.
guess so, but that was really funny just to see him. I mean, he lit him up twice. Like, shut the fuck up. Well, I'm sure they were talking about like Brittany not having her COVID test or whatever. Mackenzie, shut the fuck up. Or I don't know. Like that's what was
That's
what was
how it
happening.
felt.
And then whoop, they were out.
They were
of there.
gone. We saw Tell,
We saw David Tell. That was
which
cool.
was
Guys,
probably the highlight
legend.
of the night. I'm
Legend.
a huge fan of his.
He was funny, good. But you could tell he was also trying to like try out new stuff, goofing around like on a recorder, and sort of just
Which has always
rambling
been
or
his
whatever.
thing, though. Like, if you watch Bumpin' Mics with him and Jeff Ross, like, they always had a weird instrument for any time there was dead time. They would just pull something out and piccolo until the next line came to them.
keep the crowd kind of interested.
What
I guess.
are you doing?
It was good, and we chatted with him real quickly after the show. He recommended Helium.
Yeah.
In Portland, probably made fun of us a little bit more. I can't remember. but-
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah, he looked at me and said, "What did you come from, SWAT team training, guy?" Just sitting front row, like wasn't laughing, I guess, at the moment or something. It's like, why so serious, man? He was good with crowd work.
He
did a
was
really
good.
job.
Yeah.
He was.
That whole
yeah.
night was great.
Plus, any comedian you watch that other comedians call legendary, like you heard Attell's name come up very often on Rogan between him and other comics,
Right.
as like a god of comedy. Just to be there and watch him work on material, even if some of it wasn't his best stuff, was so awesome. Like,
Yeah.
Wouldn't he just riffed with the MC for a little while?
That was good.
Like-
That was good, and he was good with the crowd.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I just enjoyed the crowd stuff the most. Like even
Yeah.
though the last guy at Gotham was probably like the most polished and really
Yeah.
funny and everything, but like the crowd stuff was the best.
When you got
For
lit
sure.
up, too, that night.
yeah, you did.
You laughed at an inopportune time.
Oh,
Oh, no. Made like a,
He's like,
I
oh,
groaned.
like something. He said
Groaned
something like
audibly
kind of
groaned.
raunchy joke, and Stefan did like a moan. He's like,
Yeah.
the fuck, guy? Like, and then he's like, this is a comedy club. He started just ripping on Stefan.
Yeah, well, what did I say that like? Oh, not it's what did I say? I can't remember.
I don't know. Yes.
That one hurts.
If you're going
or
to
something like
if you're
that.
going to a
Hilarious.
comedy club, the worst of the worst is going to come out. So just
It's all
be
good.
wherever your
It was
reactions,
fun.
you're gonna get lit up.
I took it. And the people next to us were really cool. They were locals. At the Comedy Cellar. Anyway, and then you guys went to a club.
Yeah, we went to the stand over by John's at Bleaker. Cole and I went back for more pizza. Went to the show. We were supposed to have Ian, but I think he slept through the
Who
whole
the
thing.
fuck
so
knows what that guy was doing?
who knows? Who knows what he was? He's a scroungy fella. But that was super fun. And we actually got there early. One of Cole's comedy idols was performing on a sidewalk. Like, talk about New York opening and getting everyone trying to get their bits going again.
Yeah.
They're doing a little sidewalk show.
Yeah, Chris DiStefano.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris DiStefano because I know you listen to our podcast religiously.
When he got
We're gonna tag him.
he
at
got
least,
to shamelessly ask for a selfie.
Yes.
Then we go
Hell
inside.
yeah.
I'll
We
cut
end up
that
in the wrong room.
Oh.
The show doesn't start for an hour till after we get there. But dude, the show was hilarious.
It was a good show.
And then we hung out with the comics afterwards.
Yeah.
Like it was a cool spot.
That's good stuff.
The
Yeah.
Bushwick Bears. If you're into YouTubing, the Bushwick Bears.
The YouTube. I've heard of it.
It's phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
they're
Yeah,
hilarious.
I missed out. I was in Upper Pennsylvania hanging out with my bros. Okay, so let's see. Don't Tell Mama. Don't Tell Mama Piano Bar.
Oh,
We went
so fun.
was it on the first night. First
That was
night.
the first night.
Oh,
All the days run together because we slept like a total of 15 hours
yeah,
in 4 days.
God, I know that. Anyway, Don't Tell Mama was a place I wanted to go because Broadway was shut down while we were there, but I knew they had singing waiters and waitresses, bartenders, etc., and they're like Broadway people. Like it's right off of Broadway, and I was like, God, I got to get something Broadway-ish while I'm there because I'm just obviously into Broadway, and so we get there, and I'm like, guys, I know this might not be your thing, so thank you for coming and checking this out and everything. And I think Cole's probably a little skeptical, Broadway, cabaret, whatever. But I don't know.
My
I
God,
thought
it
it was
was
pretty
so
fucking
much fun. We were all like pretty lit by the time we got there, and then we just kept drinking. And their pours, like I'm not kidding,
Oh shit!
their Scotch pours were like a full 5 ounce.
Easy 2 fingers.
It was unreal.
like in a nice glass.
So by the time
like-
we left, we were rolling.
yeah.
Stefan we made it known it was his birthday, and there was a woman that wanted to break off a piece of that Kit Kat.
She was not subtle.
No,
I mean,
no.
I get it.
It was the.
I mean, when you see this, it's
It was-
hard.
It was
to
the
resist.
most aggressive hitting on any of us received in New York
I
City.
know where the term cougar comes from because when I saw her sitting directly behind Stefan and I was sitting in front of Stefan, so I just literally had a perfect view of it. She was prowling. Like
She
she
just
kept
kept-
just
she
looking
kept
at him
doing
and
like
waiting
this.
for him to turn around, and it was so funny.
Well,
Sent over a shot.
Yeah.
she was
the whole
being
thing.
friendly and
She was a
flirty or
sweetheart.
whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah. And then she sent me the birthday shot, and I was like, okay, I'm not used to this. Like, you know. but the show was great. Julia Richardson, I think, she was our waitress. She's Cole's looking her up on Instagram now. We got connected. She was insanely good.
So talented.
I was so impressed
So
by her,
talented.
and the bartender, whose name I have no idea, was awesome as well. They slayed it, and I just felt privileged to be there. It was like moving for me to be there because there was a time in my life where I wanted to be on Broadway, and I wanted to live in New York and live that life and everything, and watching these young people following their dreams and being incredibly talented was so cool to see.
Yeah.
And I could have hung out there for hours. I wanted to go back the second night, but it was already 3 a.m. or 2:30 or something at that point,
Yeah.
and they closed.
But that was the only shit part about being there during the tail end of COVID was that things still weren't open all night or till 2 or 4 in the morning. Like things started closing at 12, 1.
Yeah, we booked out of there at 1-ish or so, and nothing was open. That's the
Nothing.
thing is, if we knew nothing was open, we probably would have
We
stayed
would have
longer.
stayed. Yeah.
Because they were so good, and they were open. So we did get that Greek food after. No, not
We
Greek.
went to
Was it
Times
Greek?
Square.
Yeah.
There was one of those.
I'll cut in a pretty funny video of us hammered after the show because
Dude, we were in Times
guys
Square.
were just
None of us
shitty.
could even see straight.
yeah, spinning around,
could. You
taking
guys were fucked
selfies.
up.
Yeah, that was
There's
hilarious.
a-
It was great.
There was a cocktail of drinks that I was consuming, and
There were things.
stuff.
And then we went to get some street food, and
It was the
we all picked
fucking
pretty
hottest,
light,
Lebanese
easy
or-
things to eat because we were just faded and wanted something to soak up the alcohol.
Oh,
And
we've been
Wesley
eating all
picks
day.
this really hot
I walk
Give
up.
me all the sauce.
Gyro.
This is where it was at though. I was at the
choice.
point where I was looking at the menu, and I could see the words, but I couldn't really understand what the words said. So I just saw chicken. I was like, chicken and rice. I'll take that.
Well,
And then I hear him from the back, under his mask, go hot sauce and white sauce, and I was like, yeah. And he goes, hot sauce, and I give him 2 thumbs up, and he looks at me and his eyes get big, and he goes, okay.
okay.
Um,
2 barrels coming at you.
Before you know it, I'm sitting against a building, just spooning the hottest stuff I've ever eaten into my mouth. But I'm
I know.
drunk and hungry,
I got
and
some pictures of that. We'll cut that in.
it,
think that's on the-
I sobered up though, an hour later.
We could have, that night we could have kept going, for sure. But it was the next night that we ended up sitting in the park smoking cigars till 3:30.
Yeah,
I'd been up that late in a long time.
that was such a beautiful night though.
It was a great
From,
night.
I mean, the whole day was incredible.
Yeah, don't tell mama. Second night, dinner at
Keen's.
Keen's.
Yeah, this was one that you had been. So Stefan started pitching this trip 5 months ago, and one of the first things he did was start sending out restaurant lists. And Keen's was super cool to me because they had all these old pipes.
The pipe collection.
So from the 1800s, folks were coming
Yeah.
in, and you could bring your own pipe, or you could buy a pipe there and then leave it.
Yeah, check it.
And it was
check
it was like a little smoker bar.
And they were
steakhouse.
it was a steakhouse. Men who were working in factories and shit would come in, smoke their pipe, order mutton or whatever, and that's where they ate.
Mhm.
And they kept the pipes. They had the pipes smoked by, Babe Ruth and
Yeah, they had a whole
FDR
celebrity wall.
and-
But so for us, that was super cool to look at.
Yeah, well, and I think was it Ian or you? I can't remember, or Cole. You're like, where are the pipes? And I just go
It was
like
me.
this. Yeah,
I
it
was
was
like,
you.
"Where are the
And I
pipes?"
just go like this, and you're like, what, upstairs? I'm like,
They were all like
They were-
hung on little hooks from the ceiling.
From the ceiling?
Entire ceiling.
That was the
With like
ceiling.
a 1/4 inch in between each one. There were thousands of pipes.
a lot of pipes.
It
Very
was-
cool.
It was really cool.
Awesome
Awesome food.
Oh God, it was so good. Yeah, the food was really solid. Had like the seafood tray. The East Coast oysters actually were pretty good. They
Yeah.
were like Long Island or something. I don't know. So that seafood tray was fine. The lobster bisque was fine. It wasn't my favorite lobster bisque, but I've had a lot of lobster bisque. Caesar salad was good. And I had the mutton chop, which is what they're known for. I'd never had a mutton chop before. I don't know if I ever had mutton before. And it was delicious. I really enjoyed it. And I love steak, so for me to get lamb at a steakhouse was a new thing.
Yeah.
You
I had filet and
surf and
lot.
turfed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Just melt in your mouth.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And the perfect amount of food too, because we've been eating all day. So I had like a little 8-ounce
true.
filet, and then my seafood on the side, little lobster.
The lobster. Cole, did you do the surf and turf too?
I did the fillet.
Just filet.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I was
You
with
didn't have
Wes.
surf and
I'm
turf,
not much of a big eater, and I was feeling pretty full at that point. But I was honestly, like, before we went to Keen's, I'm kind of a cheapskate, and I was thinking I'm just going to get, like, an appetizer and just kind of, like, drink some wine with the guys. But I'm really glad I ate because it was a really good meal.
Yeah, and you guys brought some bottles
some
for my
wine.
birthday, which
I
I
brought-
appreciated.
I brought some Granville, brought some Adiant.
Yep.
And actually the Psalm came over.
Yep, we offered the Psalm taste of each,
Granville was
which is what you do.
previously on their list, which
That
was
I
the
was
best wine we'd found in New York City.
Legitimately shocked.
So they're 17.
Yeah, best Oregon wine.
Yeah,
But
best
yes,
Oregon
we-
wine. And then he loved that Adiant wines.
Yeah,
that-
he really made
we
it
shared with
went
him.
out of his way to say how much he enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
and again, like came and hung out. And
Knowledgeable guy too. Knew Oregon,
he'd
knew
been
the
to Oregon.
AVAs.
He visited certain spots. He couldn't name them all. I think it had been a while or whatever. But he was happy to chat it up with us, which was like, again, it's it's your work week. I know I never expect people to take tons of time to
Right.
like hang out. But he was, I kind of let him go.
Right.
At
Yeah.
some point, just like
Give him the
I-
freedom to.
I get it. You can go.
Right.
You can take off and get back to work selling bottles.
Well, I think hospitality folks recognize other hospitality folks that are kind of going out of their way to engage.
Right.
That's
It's not always that way though.
true.
So I appreciate it
That is true.
when they do. So that was awesome. I was really happy with that. I thought overall the food was great. The service was excellent. Our server was like right nearby, like keeping an eye
Yeah.
on us like the whole time.
Yeah.
And we lost track of time and had to peace out to get to the show because we were just hanging out and having a great time.
Yeah, I had to slam like 3 ounces of filet in about 4 minutes.
Yeah, I helped you with I think the lobster,
Yeah.
which I was happy to do.
I was happy you were there. Didn't want it to go to waste.
We did have a dinner the previous night, Petit Boucher or something like that. Some kind of bistro place down in.
It sucked. And what sucks even more
Yeah,
about
it was
that is
sad.
that Jordan and I had been to the original restaurant the first time we were in New York and loved it.
Same place?
No, I'd pointed it out when we were walking down 7th earlier.
Same name?
Yep.
Oh.
So this
Okay.
was a second location.
Uh-huh.
And it was awful. Actually, Cole got hit on super hard and had no idea what was going on.
Oh,
He
before
thought
the
he
start.
thought this guy
Not
was
by a
trying to
girl.
be his buddy.
Cole was being playful, and then he was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Now I'm getting hit on. Whoops.
This guy wanted to.
Yeah, I started engaging with him. I think on about Oregon. I can't remember the whole interaction, but basically, we talk. I start walking. He's like, "Okay, we got a table set up for you guys." And then, as I'm walking away, he's like, "Hey," and I like look back. He's like, "Hope to see you guys around." And he's like looking straight at me, and I said absolutely nothing and just turned back and kept walking the table because
You're like, "Oh shit!"
At
I
that
didn't mean to
moment,
give
I
this guy
realized
the
what had been
wrong.
going on.
Yeah. You're like, "Oh shit!" I didn't mean to give the wrong signal. But
Yeah.
anyway, they were
I'm a little
disorganized.
bear.
All
my
the meat was
my
overcooked.
lamb. No.
Overcooked, undercooked.
Yes, my lamb was overcooked. The sausage was overcooked.
My
Your
shrimp,
were undercooked.
they were like still wiggling.
How do you do that? That was so
And
bad.
of course, Wes still ate 2 of them without even realizing it. And then he's like, "Are these undercooked?" And Wes and Stefan's like, "Yeah, bro."
They
They're
were
like
like
raw.
I mean, it
Listen.
tells you what I like my food journey.
like,
I'm
oh.
eating, but it's with squid egg pasta. So I'm like, maybe they just
Shrimp tartare.
screwed it up, whatever. I think I ate like 4 or 5 of them.
I know you did.
And then I looked at Stefan's face, and the look on his face told me I was gonna be so sick later.
you know,
it
some
honestly
things are
scared
worth
the shit
risking
out
and
of
some
me.
are not.
It's like,
Yeah, Wesley waited till the fourth or fifth one to look at Stefan and say, "Do you think I should be eating this right now?" And Stefan's like, "Not at all."
no, what are you doing?
Oh, I already ate a
I
bunch.
think the way I put it was, I wouldn't.
Yes, exactly.
So for the rest of the trip,
Exactly.
I had Stefan taste test everything.
There
for me.
you go. Yeah, no,
Yes.
it all
Make
turned
sure I
out for
wasn't
the
getting
best.
poisoned.
All right. So, lessons learned from our first Hosbrutality away game / New York.
Yeah. Find more modes of transportation that aren't your feet.
The first day especially, we were all over the place and walked it all almost.
Yeah.
And that was rough. Like, I mean, partly because I just wasn't conditioned for it.
Right.
But
I mean, it was
yeah.
cool on the first day because we did see a lot of the city from a
That's
you,
the
you know
flip side.
from
We
a
saw
way we
Manhattan
wouldn't
pretty well.
see if we were in the subway.
Yep, exactly. But that second day when we did take the subway all the way back up to Central Park, that
Yeah.
was like shit. That was quick. That
Yeah,
was
because
nice.
1.2 miles doesn't feel like a long ways until you're 0.3 miles into your walk, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
not even close to there yet.
Well, it had already been so much anyway. So yeah, or maybe there's those bikes everywhere.
those little motorized scooters.
There's motorized scooters, there's bikes, there's electric bikes, you know. So, just a thought, but anyway.
There's so much to see.
Yeah, Brooklyn especially. Like one of my goals was to see Brooklyn, and I feel like we didn't see a lot of Brooklyn. I think honestly,
Nope.
like I'd kind of planned on doing a tour, but it was a Tuesday and there were not that many tours available.
Yeah.
So I was kind of deterred by that and really not a good selection. And so I still want to go back and see more of Brooklyn and just be like, you know what, I'm just going to tourist it up and do a tour. And whether it's a bus or a bike, I want to do a bike tour. Did end up doing that. And just and see it. Obviously, there's more in all the boroughs and to see, but Brooklyn was like my focus, and I kind of dropped the ball there. But that's the way it goes.
People were pretty nice, aside from the one butthole lady at the wine shop.
I thought people were super nice.
Yeah.
Everybody, it seemed like the wine shops went to, the pizza shops, randos that we talked to when we were like, we're visiting from Oregon. They were like, oh, cool. Like most people were like happy to talk to us.
Yeah.
Day one, we get in at like 5:30 a.m. Thankfully, we get into our hotel. Like the lady checks us in, super cool. Again, gets us into our rooms, and I thought, no way. I thought we were checking bags into the closet, paying $5 a bag. No, she was like, bam, 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 to our rooms. We're back out on the street by, I don't know, 8 or so. I mean, we got to the hotel at 7:30 or 7. Back out on the street, and I've got cigars, and all the things I read were like, oh, you can't smoke in New York. Can't smoke in New York. We're standing out on the street, and the guy goes by. He's coming, yoked, just chomping on a cigar, and I'm like, fuck it. And I was like, hey, clearly you're a cigar fan. Where can you smoke? And he's just like, oh yeah, it's not too bad. I smoke up at the Hyde Park or whatever, and it's up this way a little bit. And like, great. And then yeah, everywhere people were really really sweet.
Yeah.
And it's not like I've spent a certain amount of time like in Philly, and like the whole. Like when you go to order a cheesesteak, you need to have your order ready. You need to have your money ready. Like they're really serious about it. Like, and they'll yell at you and stuff if you're like act like a stupid tourist. It was not that way at all. Like the pizza shops and everything that are like legendary shops, super cool.
By the way, Ian and I went to Philly to get a cheesesteak.
Yeah, I heard.
Unreal.
It's spiritual.
It was so good.
I had 5 cheesesteaks in like the 4 days that after I left.
I believe it. If we'd been there longer, I would have. Yeah. Let's see. What else? Oh, man. There are very few places to take a poop. Especially when you're eating and drinking all day long.
Mm-hmm.
That was something we had to start kind of mapping for.
We had to plan ahead. So a good bathroom was like Grand Central Station. The bathroom I went to in Grand Central was not bad.
Mine was the worst bathroom experience I've been to a lot of truck stops. There's some weird stuff that happens there, but the toilet next to me, backed up and overflowed, and there was like diarrhea coming out onto the floor next to me.
That is
Mine
unfortunate.
was flushing like every 10 seconds, so I'm like captain to hop up, so I don't get water up my
Well,
butthole.
Yeah. So we gotta plan for that next time. But yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Also, if you're gonna do it, like put the time into plan well. I'm not like I can be a planner, but if I'm going with other people, a lot of times like I like to just fly by the seat of my pants. When Stefan left, us boys realized very quickly we did not have a planner person in the group because we ended up doing a lot of excess walking, and we got all the way
It's
down.
double-edged sword.
We were at the One World Trade Center, saw the Statue of Liberty, walked all the way up to Little Italy, which was a very long walk,
And then to Little Brazil.
and then to Little Brazil,
Oh.
and then headed back up to the hotel. Anyway, plan. Like otherwise, you end up wasting like a third of your day just walking.
But
when
I mean, you
could've-
can also plan for spontaneity too.
for sure.
You know, like I think I tried to do a certain amount of that. You know, we had spots to hit, but flexibility within that. You know, and I don't know. I thought it turned out pretty well.
Big takeaway from the wine side though was just that no one really understands. No one that we talked to
They don't
understood
care.
the Oregon
It's
wine
not on
scene.
the
It was-
radar
they're trying to
really
get
very
cheap
much.
Pinots. You know, in the same way, it's kind of like a California cheap Pinot and Oregon cheap Pinot. Like, nah, you know.
Yeah, it's not on their radar.
Distribution and quality are not, up to
At least-
at the par there.
At least in the bottle shops, it was not really on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting to go to more fine restaurants and meet more of those somms that.
Right.
Because that's the thing about the Keen's wine list. It was not huge.
No.
It was a nice wine list. It was a very curated wine list. You could tell, but it was not huge. Like Ringside in Oregon, in Portland, bigger wine list. I don't know. Hey,
Good
this is
little
the South Side.
little
Cole.
show going on.
This
We
is
got
the
some,
South
we got
Side.
some neighbor boys walking by.
So yeah, I think when we go back, we'll have to talk to more somms and whatnot.
Yeah, start looking at wine lists ahead of time and picking restaurants that have some Oregon wines.
All right.
Oh,
So that was our New York
so
trip.
recap, man.
If you want to make fun of us in the comment section, please do so, or give us tips for next time. If we go back to New York, hopefully.
If you have other
I would go to New
cities
York once a
that you
year
want
if
to
I could.
suggest us go see, if you've got people that have a third home they're not living in that they want to let us stay in,
True.
let us know.
True.
We'll take it.
All right. Sports Minute.
The 1 minute sports minute.
60 seconds,
Starting
sports
now.
minute.
20 seconds or 2 minutes. Okay. The U.S. men's national soccer team won the CONCACAF tournament with a victory over Mexico on, I think it was Sunday.
What is
Mex-
CONCACAF?
I don't know what it stands for, but it's like a North American, I believe, tournament kind of thing.
It's a big deal that they won.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And Mexico is our biggest rival, probably. So beating Mexico is fucking awesome. And it was a great game. And the U.S. keeper who came on as a injury substitution stopped a penalty kick in extra time. So it was 3-2. Pulisic got a goal. And then there was another. Then, they had a chance to tie it up. And the guy fucking stopped it, which is crazy, with a great save. Really good game. So it's 3-2. Soccer game, when you get 5 goals, you're pretty happy, too.
That's entertaining.
And then they whooped up on Costa Rica. Sweet.
Nate Diaz fighting again. Come on, baby. It's
I'm
been,
excited.
what, a
He's
year
gonna
and a
get his
half?
ass kicked
2
probably,
years?
but
My favorite
man,
fighter.
I
Just
know.
watching that guy, everyone likes him for the same reason. He's just a badass, real dude. But
Yeah.
he brings it. Watching the press conference was hilarious because all the reporters get up and they pretty much all ask Nate a question and he gives like a 1-word answer. It's like, I'm ready. Like they're like,
Lights a big
how do you
joint,
feel about this?
just hangs out.
Lights a joint while everyone's talking. Yeah, and the whole time he just kept pointing over at like the main guy's fighting in the main card, and he's just like, "You guys, this is a good show. You don't want to miss this." Like he was just deflecting attention the entire time.
I'm just here to fight. That's that's it.
Can't wait. We're gonna watch those fights. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna be watching, I think. So hopefully we can hang
We'll
out.
be-
We'll come over.
We won't
come
we won't
drink.
stream it. We'll definitely buy the pay per view.
Definitely
Definitely
gonna
buy
pay
it.
for the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Okay. That was pretty good for our sports minute.
We did it.
Bam!
142.
The
A
shortest
minute 42.
sports minute ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't let the dog out. Okay. What is brutal and what is beautiful?
Man, we're already in drought conditions.
Bad.
So bad that the drought condition little bullet points said that bears are likely to move into urban developments. And I just said, are bears? Are we really at that point in the...
Yeah, we got to be like that lady who like pushed the bear off her wall.
Oh, that was an awesome
we're
video.
gonna cut that
Oh
in.
my
We're gonna cut that in
God.
because that's a great fucking
That is
video.
a great
Oh, we're
video.
so dry.
lady's just
we
like,
got a
"Fuck
couple
off,
days
bear."
of rain the last month.
We-
And we needed it, but it's so scary knowing that fire season's around the corner already.
Yeah.
Most of these farmers are dry farming.
We are in
Like,
worse shape right now, than we were at this time last year, and last year sucked.
Yep.
So buckle up. But yes, we got rain today.
So I'm gonna
Today?
sture buying air
Yesterday
filters
we got rain
right now.
yesterday.
It's supposed to rain a few days this weekend.
Hopefully, yeah, exactly. That's June is not known as a rainy month here.
No,
so
but like
that's
all the
nice
way up
that we're
until the
getting a
4th
little
of
bit.
July, it's always
possible.
like growing up here, you knew like you couldn't plan a weekend event
Right.
without the caveat of rain because until 4th of July, it could be raining on your weekend.
But lately, over the past 6 years,
Not the
it
case.
hasn't been the case. So it's good. I think that we have a little rain in the forecast, and we've gotten a little bit lately. Hopefully, it'll make up. The grasses are not the backyard here, but the front yard starting to get some dry spots already. So that's brutal. Beautiful. Happy Pride Month, everybody. Mwah, for our LGBTQ fans out there, of our tens of fans. Appreciate you. And we let that flag fly. And the Wine Country Pride Parade is coming up June 26th.
Yep.
At 1 o'clock.
Oh,
We'll
the
probably
mosquitoes
both
are out.
be. I know we'll probably both be working, but I'm gonna-
Renegade will be there
Renegade.
Yep.
Over here somewhere.
somewhere. I think it's like the main end parade route destination.
Yeah, it's here. Unfortunately, it doesn't go down our street. I got to make a call. So next year, maybe
Come
we
on,
can-
Kristen.
Yeah, let's
Let's
get it.
go.
Let's get it down our street. It goes like
Stefan and I are kind of a big deal.
up Fifth. Yeah. Look at my beautiful flag. Come on. It goes up like Fifth and around Memorial and everything. So I'm excited. So check out the Wine Country Pride Parade here, June 26th. Facebook, I think, has some details as far as the parade route. I'm not really sure, but look it up.
Yeah,
Look
something
it
like that.
And
Maybe we can post a link.
And yeah, something we wanted to just real quickly go over is we just had a cool moment at dinner where Wesley shared one of his family traditions where they kind of, on everyone's birthday, they go around the table and basically say something they appreciate about the person whose birthday it is. And Stefan was the birthday boy. So we all had like a bro moment, and it was cool. Stefan basically started bawling, and we all just
No.
Yeah.
No, one of the things that I think is really important is that we give people flowers while they're living. Roses while they're
Amen.
living.
Amen.
Roses while
flowers.
they're
You
here.
can smell the roses or get the roses while you can still
God,
smell
we're
them.
so bad at this.
Kanye.
Anyway,
Oh, she's telling me.
don't wait until it's too late to tell people in your life that you love them, that you appreciate them, that you're grateful for the impact they've had on you. Because I think for certainly the three of us boys sitting at the table that we're hanging out with Stefan's impacted all of us in very positive ways, and so but it also encouraged like further conversation, and it opens doors to get to know each other better and be a little more vulnerable and ask for help, especially as dudes. It's one thing that we're not super good at.
Yeah.
It's taken me a long time to get to the point where I'm willing to be like, hey guys, like I'm actually struggling with this right now. And if you could help me with accountability or, just remind me that my life's actually really good. Like
Amen.
this is difficult right now, but my
Yeah.
life is good.
It was a beautiful moment. I was very touched, and it meant a lot to me. It was great, and I think being vulnerable with people is an important pathway to intimacy.
Yeah.
Then there's the whole oversharing thing, but obviously there's kind of a balance there, and reading the room and everything. But I felt a lot of love, and it was great. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And I think something cool, and the reason why we bring it up now is because we all kind of were realizing how all this time we've been spending together working on this thing, and really not really paying attention to what we're, as far as us being friends, more just kind of focusing on a project, has made us all become very close. And
Right.
and we were
Right.
able to have that moment because we've spent so much time together
Yep.
that it's been it's been a meaningful time for all of us throughout this really shitty year of everything being kind of in the dumps and everyone having a lot of anxiety, and
For sure.
it's been kind of a lifesaver for me mentally, I think, to be able to have this project to just kind of dive into and see what we can do.
Yeah.
Speaking of beautiful, that was your first time in New York, Cole?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It was awesome. Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I definitely get why people say like nothing is like New York. And for me, the kind of like high point was, besides like the really good food that we ate, but seeing how there's a different kind of embrace of culture in New York, where I think where we live, people try and force culture or kind of like, I don't know what the right way to
Tokenize it or
sure, yeah,
co-opt it.
it's more virtue signaled, and here and there it was like people from literally all around the world who come to New York City for what they think is just America, and New York is nothing like the rest of America. But yeah, it was an awesome experience, and I love architecture, I love photography, so to be there and be able to walk by these, just every other building you walk by is like this insane building, and you're like, how do they build that?
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a special trip.
it was incredible.
We would love to do more of that. Hopefully, you guys out there enjoyed the content and I don't know, want to support us and put us back on that path. Where should we go next?
Where do we go?
Where do we go next?
What do we
Please
eat?
comment.
Yeah, put it
Chime
in the
in.
comments. Philly got some
Really?
options.
Cool.
Austin.
New
I know
Zealand?
we've got a lot of options.
It's a lot of
Paris.
good- Ah,
We got to.
Spain.
You know what? You got to have dreams, or your dreams will never come true. Just saying. So.
amen.
All right. On that note, if you enjoyed this, like, follow, subscribe,
Comment, share.
comment, share. We'd love feedback. Give us some feedback. Give us some feedback.
Our
And-
egos need it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we want to be better at this. So
Yeah.
that more than anything.
We're
But
headed
yeah,
into
no,
season 2. We've got a lot of really exciting things coming up, and I've really put in a lot of work to sort of up the ante, make
We're
this
hoping
next
so.
season.
We got some good stuff
next
coming.
season better,
Good
so
stuff. Tune in next week.
Stay tuned.
Amen.
See you next time.